Okay everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Gran Turismo 7 video, and we're taking on the GTWS Series Nations race. It's the final round of the season and we are at Daytona Oval in Group 3 cars without BOP on. We're going straight into the qualifying session, and yeah, it's a bit of a crazy combination in all honesty. Not much skill required. We went into this with zero practice, not knowing anything about the race. I didn't even know it was as many laps as it actually was. I was expecting it to be a very short 10-lap race or something like that, but no, it was quite a long one. For an oval race. And yeah, in this qualifying you can see we were currently P6, and this lap that we're on now is going to be our fastest lap. Now one thing with this is counter steer assist actually helped you maintain better speed through the corners. Also was a really good thing to run in the race for the craziness, to try and keep that car steady through the corners, because there was just so much bump drafting going on. It was a really good shout to run the counter steer assist. So you can see also through the corners it just keeps it a little bit smoother on these long bank corners. And also one thing, even though slipstream was off, I found that when you were following a car with going into the wind, it was almost like you were gaining. So I don't know whether it's obviously deflecting the wind slightly. It shouldn't do with slipstream off, but there was definitely something in that. And we managed to get ourselves to P4 on the grid. So a decent little qualifying there. Pretty much optimal place to start as well. You don't want to be right at the back really. You don't want to be right at the front. So P4, nice place to start, and we're going to go straight into this race now. So let's see what we can do in this GTWS Series top split race. 420 points available in this race for the win. So it's pure luck, not much skill involved. The only thing that we did know was that someone said you need to save fuel, and I decided to save fuel straight away from the start. So I didn't have a clue how much fuel we needed to save. It was just going to be a case of keeping an eye on that fuel and just trying to work out as you drive and calculating in your head what laps you've got left, how much extra you think you might need for the last lap to keep pushing and stuff like that. So I decided we're going to play it quite safe with the fuel and try and save quite a bit of fuel. You can see straight away into mixture 3 and just let the bump drafting happen with mixture 3. And if, in all honesty, I felt it was better to do that anyway rather than going mixture 1, because less chance of damage. But I think a lot of other people were going straight into mixture 1. So when they were hitting us, they were hitting us quite hard in the rear, because you're getting damage. And what was happening when they would hit you in the rear, in mixture 1, they would end up hitting you so hard into the car in front, you'd get damage on the front as well. So it was a really crazy start to this race. A lot of people picking up damage. You can see I've got rear damage there. But I'm going to carry on with the fuel saving. The slipstream was quite strong on this, so it shouldn't have really affected the pace that much. You just lost a bit of straight line speed, but not too much that you're not going to fall out the slipstream, because it was massively strong, the slip in this race. But down to P7 from the start, but that isn't really that much of a problem as long as we just try and keep ourselves in the main battle and not spin out. One thing you don't want to happen on this is to lose the slipstream. If you do that, your race is over. So staying in the slipstream, trying to save a lot of fuel. You can see there we had to go to the right there, and now I can't tuck in because of the car in the slipstream to the left of us, so we're going to have to stay on the outside. Luckily for us, though, we get a nice bump draft off another car. I think Matt decides to go to the right here and try and get himself forward as well. So Matt plays a strategic move as well. We're going to bump draft Matt now and get ourselves all the way up past the cars on the left and tuck back in. Now here we decided to let Matt back in because he helped me get through, so I decided to just put the fuel mixture down and just let Matt tuck back in here rather than going into mixture 1 and cutting that off. So Matt creeps back into P3 there, and we're back up to where we started on the grid. So at the moment things are going okay, we're saving good fuel. You can see on the telemetry there we've got 27.4 laps or something like that. We've got about that left in the race so far, so I need to save a little bit more fuel really, because I wanted to go more aggressive at the end of the race than the start of the race. So you're going to see me flicking around with that fuel mixture all the way through this race and playing with it at many different points as we fast forward a little bit there, as we're now into lap 4, and we're going to see if we can just work our way forward in this race. It's pretty much a race of just bump drafting and tactical play and fuel saving. We've got a group on the right hand side going around the outside there, and that's going to drop us down a few positions. Are they going to be able to go all the way around the outside though? It's going to be interesting if that one works, as we're still in P6 and you see another car going around the outside. I'm going to stick to the left though and just carry on with the fuel saving. I wasn't too worried about just trying to make sure I stay in that top 3 group. I just wanted to try and save fuel. So you see mixture 2 even on the straight, and then if we get too close we're going to go on higher and higher mixtures all the way through to 3 and even 6 mixture, just to save as much as we can. You can see at the moment the fuel's looking very, very good. It's actually more fuel than what we need really. We've got, we're on lap 6 now, and we've got more fuel than what we actually require. So at the moment things are looking very good. There's a lot of chaos here. We get a massive bump draft from a car behind and one from the side, and we luckily, I think what saved us there was probably having the counter steer assist on us. And we're getting pushed over to the left here, nowhere to go. I don't know where people thought we were going to go there, but we're just trying to hold the yellow line. And yeah, counter steer assist again, probably saving us from getting spun out at the moment, which is a really good thing. I think some people weren't running it, but it was definitely the recommended thing for this kind of race where everyone's really close together, and it's not like you're doing braking, it's just pure keeping the car as smooth as possible, and it was definitely a benefit. You can see we're dropping down to P11 at the moment. This is not where we want to be really, but I decided not to panic too much, just carry on with the fuel mixture saving and just let it, save a bit of fuel. And then if I have an opportunity, we're going to try and get ourselves back up towards that top group. So save a bit of fuel for a bit here into mixture 6, let that fuel build up for the last few laps. That's what we really want to do here. So you can see as we look on the replay camera now, we get a really nice run on the outside section, and this is going to give us a chance to try and get back towards the front. So we're going to watch this now from the replay camera, and you can see there it's worked out quite nicely. Now we've got a group that has developed on the outside, and we've got 2 lines now, all bump drafting, and this is actually quite exciting. I quite enjoy this kind of racing, even though it's it's a totally different thing to circuit based, and obviously on Gran Turismo with the bump drafting and the physics when people hit each other, it is a bit daft, but it's entertaining, and I think people did enjoy watching this race. And you can see it's worked really well at the moment. We've gone round the outside and we're all the way up to P2, and we're getting a really nice run, and we're all the way up to P1 now. Now what we've got to do is just try and tuck in once we can. So you can see we've got an opportunity now to tuck into that left hand side and get ourselves into the lead of this race. Now this was perfect, because what we can do now is we can just fuel save and let people bump draft me all the way forward, even though we're in mixture 6. So the temptation in this position would be to use mixture 1 and just try and maintain your speed, but all that's going to do is use up all your fuel. So what I decided to do is just mess around with fuel mixture between mixture 3, 4, 5 and 6, and sometimes mixture 2 and 1 on the odd occasion, and just let them help my pace forward with just bump drafting, and we save the fuel and we stay in this position, because no one really wants to break away from the train really. In general, people, it's very rare you're going to get them 2 line situations that we just took advantage of, but we saw it, we took advantage, and we got ourselves right back to the front of the grid. So this worked out very nicely for me, and you can see we're doing really good with fuel. Now we've got our first victim of the oval there. You can see it on the track map, the car has lost control, and when we go back and watch the replay, we can see there John, as he's come through here, he just gets really unfortunate. Cars tapping into the side of him, and he gets a little bit unfortunate there, and then another car hits him and he kind of gets sandwiched. Not much he could do there, really unfortunate. Maybe if he would have had counter steer assist on, might have saved him possibly, but yeah, even then, very unfortunate for John there, and that's his race pretty much done. And now we're going to rejoin the race with ourselves in P1. So 1 down out of 16. He's going to still in the race, but he's out of the contention. Once you've lost that slipstream, there's nothing you can do. You will not catch back up. So we're pushing ahead now to lap 11, and we can see another train of cars going around the outside here. You can see they're trying to develop a 2-line situation again. Now I decided not to panic too much here, just kept the mixture 6 and let Fusen just get in front of me, because if anything, that's going to help me out slightly, because not only do I get a slipstream, but I can carry on using that mixture 6, and maybe he'll use a slightly higher mixture, which will mean then I'll gain a bit more pace. Not sure why we put to brake bias 5. I just wasn't sure if there was some sort of weird glitchy thing with ABS or anything like that on this game, but yeah, it wasn't going to make any difference to the tyre wear in this combination, because you're never going to be on the brakes. So yeah, did that just out of paranoia that there could be something in the tyre wear, because the tyre wear on the rear right was starting to look quite dangerous. But with counter steer assist on and the way the tyres work in this game, you really didn't need to worry, because you still have grip when the tyres die. It's something I do hope that they can either fix or change in the future, not that they probably will. I kind of preferred it when we had the puncture situation, where once that was completely gone, your car was almost undrivable and you were skidding around. I felt that was how it should be. Pushing your tyres to the limit, you shouldn't just be able to carry on driving them. You can see at this stage we did start to fall back quite aggressively, but I didn't panic too much. We just decided to keep with it. We used mixture 1 for a little bit, and then we went back into fuel saving. So as we skip a little bit ahead, you see into mixture 3, and I knew that we'd catch them back up, because 2 cars are never going to pull away from a group of 13 or cars all bump drafting. So didn't panic, kept the fuel saving, and kept ourselves in this battle. And you see we're right up behind them now, and we didn't waste any fuel, which was pretty much perfect. So at the moment, our fuel was in very good situation, like condition, compared to others as well. We checked on the replay, and actually our fuel was pretty much the highest all the way through the race. So did a really, really good job with the fuel in this combination. And that is probably what this race was mainly about, because there's not much skill involved with it, let's be honest. It was purely about saving fuel, getting yourself in a position that you're probably going to be safer in. And I felt safer being towards the front. You see, they're going to try and make another line of cars around the outside. I'm just going to stick to the inside. You can see picking up the slipstream. He's going to probably try and tuck into that gap there, which you're going to see he does. He puts his indicator on. You can see that the car bump drafting isn't going to make it though, because we've got the slipstream. And I think P3 there, Levi's decides to just tuck in and make his way into P3, and I'll just stay in P4 and save that fuel. Try not to panic. As long as you're in this top group, it's definitely safer than in the pack behind us. You can see how close it is at the moment on this replay camera. You know, if you're in the middle of all that, it can be quite crazy. You can see a car nearly losing control there as we rejoin the cockpit camera. And then as we fast forward a little bit further ahead here, we can see that they're going to try and go round the outside there. That's probably not going to work, so we're going to pick up the slipstream and actually put ourselves back ahead of Levi's there, and he can't tuck in now. So yeah, getting ourselves back up into that podium position and back up behind Thunders, giving Thunders the bump drafting treatment all the way forward. You can see we did have a little bit of a frame rate issue when it went from sun into the day into the night section. Did have a few frame rate issues, but other than that, it was pretty much smooth on this combination. You can see now we're a little bit further ahead in the race on lap 18, starting lap 19, and we're about to lose another driver in this battle at the front. So if you keep your eye on the mirror, we're going to jump through to the mirror in a bigger view as we just come to this oval section here on the bank section, and you can see a car behind us there. He loses control, I think, from a bit of lag, if anything. You can see out of control, and yeah, that was Levi's there losing control. And if we watch it back, it just seems more like a connection issue, a bit of desync issue, because when you watch it, it was just a bump draft, and the car just suddenly swings off. So yeah, a little bump draft from behind, and yeah, it had to be some sort of desync issues going on there, because that wouldn't normally happen. So unfortunate for him. That's another car out the race, but we are still lucky that we're in P3 and carrying on this battle. Again, we're going to start just saving fuel, bump drafting Thunders. You see, using mixture 1 a bit more than we were doing, so we skip now to lap 25, and we're still in the same position. Now, you can see here, we're going to get a massive bump from the car behind, I think, as we go through 1. And also, Thunders actually, I think he goes a little bit wide as we go through this corner. So you can see two lines developing again. They're going to try and go around the outside. And then as we go through this corner, you can see he goes a little bit wide. Then we end up clipping him on the back, where we were going to go into the back of him, but he obviously ran a bit high. So we're going to take that position and up into P2, which was good for us in a way, but not so great for Thunders. But as we watch this further on, we're going to see that Thunders was struggling with fuel. I don't think Thunders knew that this race was actually a fuel-saving race and he had to save fuel. Not everyone might have realised it, because most people would have just gone into this with zero practice, like we didn't even have a clue how many laps it was. I was quite shocked when I saw it was 30 laps. So as we come through here, we're going to see Thunders bump drafting us there with the fast forwarding of the action, and then as we're about to start his lap, you can see him give us one final bump draft, and then I think he just quits the race, because I think he was out of fuel pretty much. When we checked replay, his fuel was pretty much empty, and that is Thunders out of the race. So that's another driver out of contention now, and we've got a gap with the cars behind, and we're just going to carry on behind these. So there's no point trying to break away, because you're not going to break away from the group of cars. We're just going to save that fuel and just carry on with what we're doing, maintaining this position and seeing if we can get lucky all the way to the end. Now, amazingly for us, we had really good fuel, and going into the last lap, we can now just use mixture 1. You can see my fuel, I had over 2 laps of fuel left going into the last lap, so I had more fuel than I needed. So mixture 1, and we can just bump draft through now and hope that no breakaway train tries to go around the outside, and maybe we can try and get the win at the end. You see, I was going to think about going around the outside then, and I decided, no, that'd be a bad move. Learn my lesson from the Route X race, and now we're just going to play it safe, keep bump drafting, and hope that we can go for a move. You can see behind us there's cars trying to develop that 2 lines to try and go round us, but Matt there behind us carrying on with the bump drafting, and Matt was also running quite low on fuel at this stage. So into the final corner, you see we actually got a bit of damage there from the bump draft. And fortunately for myself, this was really lucky in a way, but if you keep your eye on that damage, it repairs itself just before we get to the straight here. So this gives us a perfect slipstream now with no damage, and we're going to see if we can go for the lead in this race. And luckily for us, we managed to just creep into the lead and take the win in this 420 point nations race on the oval combination. So a great result for myself. P1, 420 points, the most points I've ever had in a GT World Series race on Gran Turismo 7. I think I might have got pretty close on GT Sport, but on GT7 we've had 416, I think, or something like that, and 408. But yeah, pretty happy with that. And you can see at the end there was a lot of chaos. People trying to push people over when there's nowhere for people to go. It was a bit disrespectful at the end. And you can see there Bradley was a victim of that because Bradley had nowhere to go. We ride on board with Bradley. He's just getting squished from every angle, pushed about. And yeah, he got abused a bit there, Bradley. So I feel a little bit sorry for him, but he spins over the line. I don't think he's too worried with that. And luckily for ourselves, we get 9 million credits. An easy way to make credits during these GT World Series races. So if you don't already do them, it's worth taking part because you can earn yourself quite a few million as we grab 9 million credits for our finishing position. And P5 overall in Europe as well. One of our best seasons so far. Lucky with the oval race at the end, but still, we still finished P5 out of all them nations races, and I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and I'm back with more of these in the future. Thanks again for watching, everyone.